In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be telling you what you can do. In fact, you can join us. And I see many of you joining us on our live feeds. It's on Facebook, Joy 99.7. It's on Joy News on a Facebook channel. Of course, you use hashtag State of Play, which is on Twitter. We are also, of course, on Instagram Live right now. Wherever you are watching us from all over the world, the most important thing you can do right now is to comment and ask your questions, and I will attempt an answer. So stay with us throughout. I'm going to be going into that very shortly, but I'm pretty sure you caught a bit of the conversation that we're having. I mean, you caught us, but listen, that's what this is all about. Let's get into it. Your argument, Raymond, is essentially that he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
The finance minister, who was supposed to come to Parliament yesterday, was billed to come, goes there and only says, I don't have the answer, go to somebody else. My point about that whole play out yesterday was a swerve. Was I question what the government strategy is. Because as of now, it's been, several weeks, in fact, more than 2 months now. As of now, the only truth we have is the truth of Okudzeto Ablakwa,
yes,
who says £15,000 an hour is what the president used. Multiplying that into more than 2 million CDs. That is the only truth. He hasn't been challenged yet. So the question really is, what's the government strategy? Is the government strategy to say that is true or to say it's not true? But the balance of probability tells me it could be the case that it is actually that the government believes that this money amount that has been put out could actually be true or even worse. Because my point is, if it was untrue or lower, there is motivation for the government to come forward instantly to tell you that this is not true.
Evans, let's get to the Public Financial Management Act. It is very simple.
What does it say?
And it's telling you about the responsibilities of the minister. Okay? Now, if you go to H, it says manage public funds. E says account for public funds through a consolidated public account and supervise the financial operations of a covered entity. What is a covered entity? You're talking about the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. You're talking about ministries, departments, and agencies. The question is, when it comes to the president travels, was money released for it?
Yeah.
Yes. Was money released to a covered entity? Yes. So why can't the finance minister tell us?
Well, no,
this is very clear.
To be fair,
But the speaker shot this down yesterday.
No, hold on.
The speaker shot this down yesterday.
That's not the only problem with that. The other problem is that this is under national security, and it's been stipulated clearly.
National security.
Take your time.
National security is also a covered entity.
Go to the Ministry of Finance's website. They will tell you that each of the ministries in the year 2021 had a planned program budget. If you see that national security, it is very scanty. It only tells you general programs to be doing and all of that.
But that can be the whole amount they have because of what
Yes, to be fair, it means that the details of what they do are, one, not supposed to be always out there, every single detail. And if they consider this as part of that, what prevents them from saying that, well, the institution will go through it, see whether your request falls within the terrain. And with respect, I think that the minister was advised as to what is appropriate under the circumstance. And he's following the rules as it's supposed to be. Let's not forget
this is state of play. This is state of play.
1 second, I'll make this point.
This is state of play. My point is, what is the political cost of the government deliberately not coming forth with information? Remember, the Minister for National Security is a colleague. It's a colleague. It's a cabinet colleague. It's a cabinet colleague of the finance minister. Couldn't the two of them have settled this and say, go and provide information?
Let me clarify something here. This is the minister's answer to Parliament yesterday. The current practice is that the Minister of Finance or Ministry of Finance releases quarterly funds to the heads of department, in this case, Office of Government Machinery, Chief of Staff, for all the operational activities of the office. To facilitate the safe coordination of the President's travels, domestic and foreign, the Office of Government Machinery and the National Security Secretariat work together to achieve this. He releases funds quarterly. And the Office of Government Machinery works with the National Security Secretariat to achieve this. These are covered entities. And the Minister of Finance can just say, Kandapa or the National Security Secretariat or Office of Government Machinery, how much did you give the National Security Secretariat? It is that simple. Unless you do not want to tell.
I have a question on this.
The minister has to know. He can't say he doesn't.
No, but I have a question, Raymond. My question is, so, in part of the complicity and, of course, the blame, should the Speaker of Parliament take part of it? Because in spite of these laws were quoted on the floor by Ato Forsig, right? and he shut it down.
Yeah, because I mean, let's be fair. There's a procedure.
You agree with his position?
Yes, I agree perfectly with the Speaker on this particular one. Why? Regardless of what we will say, the Speaker of Parliament and everybody in Parliament will have an opportunity when the budget is being read to know the details of every single ministry and every office of government
machinery. Why do we have to wait that long?
The Parliament is the one that approves the budget of the office of government machinery.
This is about the people.
But they know what they approve.
At the time of fix the country.
Again,
at
they
the time
know what
when
they
taxes,
approve.
at the time when taxes are pretty high.
What they approve.
A simple case of accounting for what you spent on the trip is taking more than two.
Let me see. The procedures of Parliament are clear on that.
They know what they approved. Hold on.
Section 62 says that questions may be asked of ministers related to public affairs which they are officially connected. Proceedings pending in Parliament or any other matter of administration for which the minister is responsible. The man has told you that there's a level of responsibility that's within my terrain. I've done so.
He's told
Clearly.
you he's released funds to the Office of Government
Yes,
Machinery.
but
How
don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know?
Hold on.
We know that, right?
When you release funds,
Yes.
and his functions include checking. When you release funds, you can request that. What did you use the
but he
funds for?
can't check every day.
Hold on.
You can't check every day.
But remember that he had time. You remember that he had time. You remember that he had time. He had time. He had time to bring that.
Yeah.
By the way, gentlemen,
3 weeks.
No,
it's a lot of time.
That's
Three
what
is a lot of time.
Let me be very frank here. Let me be
Yeah.
very frank here. Under the circumstance, I foresee a situation of there's a national security something we can't tell you. But that's not enough accountability.
So you're foreseeing a situation where the national security minister was going to come on the floor
If you have nothing to hide,
and say it's national security,
if you have nothing to hide, don't throw it to the national security.
So who are you
Tell us.
disappointed at the most? Is it the finance minister?
The finance minister and the speaker.
No, sorry. We start with.
I agree with him.
We start with the defense
Finance
ministry.
minister
We start with the defense
and the
ministry.
speaker.
We've gone through the finance ministry. It will take at most 3 weeks for we to get the third ministry to come in. What is the impatience and confusion
this is the
about?
speaker, of course, who is a staunch NDC.
Yeah.
His own side is pushing this.
Fairly
And
independent speaker.
And he's shutting. Well, that's all right. That's one of the space we can put. But he's shutting them down. Yesterday he did so when his side, of course, of the political divide, were pushing this agenda.
I think with respect,
you see that as independent.
Independent.
I see that as denying the people accountability.
Exactly.
Now let's
it's not been denied. Let's be fair. We have only
for the moment.
different
For the
ministries.
moment. For the moment.
What's the
Of
big
course,
deal?
for the moment.
So what's the big deal? If we don't know it today, we know it in the next 3 weeks. What will happen?
Now, if the defense minister
Yes.
came to Parliament and said, oh, this is how the president traveled, so we know how he traveled,
Yeah.
right? If we know how the president traveled, why can't we know how much he spent?
How much-
Because somebody's in charge of the expenditure.
That
This is
person-
the-
and that person who's in charge of our expenditure
very,
is our
very
finance
quickly,
minister.
we're going to bring our audiences in short, but very quickly, there's a second big topic that we wanted to just chip in, and I know a lot of you who are watching us are beginning to feel this. They talk about COVID, the impending third wave. The key question to ask here is there a correlation between failure in political leadership and a wave of COVID as we are impending now? Raymond.
Now, first and foremost, I have stated and I insist that the minister who's in charge of health should resign. The minister breached his own oath. The oath is very clear about upholding the laws of this country. He admitted that he didn't take it to Parliament because he had some other reasons for it. That procedure could have clearly been delineated. The reasons why we have started COVID on a good note were known. Imagine the whole world was applauding Ghana for delivering.
So that was great political leadership there.
Yes. It looks like, as the president said, we took our eyes off the ball and we let our guard down. We didn't only do it at the level of what they call going through the procedures and actually following the.
So you make an important point. When the political leadership was good, we saw the results in the COVID numbers.
If it reflected the expenditure lines too.
The expenditure lines, and COVID numbers were less. When the political leadership started failing, as in December, we saw what happened just before the elections, November, December. We saw they reap the benefits. Well, I mean, the benefits is a positive spin on this. We read the negative side of it in January and February with a second wave.
That's true.
Then we've seen political leaders who go to funerals and break the protocols. Now we are reaping an impending third
And
wave.
effectively, it has failed also at the level of managing the finances too. Why? That's what I'm saying. So, if the minister of this republic looks in my face and says, well, I needed to do this by hook or crook, so I had to sidestep every single law. I took the oath of office to actually protect, defend, and uphold, including those in the Constitution. Such a minister is not worth keeping in office.
Well, the president says, we have let our guard down. And so, yes, I agree with you that, when leadership began failing, we saw the numbers going up. But we also have a role to play individually. You and I see.
So you're blaming the citizens for this.
We also have to take a bit of the blame. yes, the executive has failed. But we could have actually showed them that we are wiser by not following them.
But there's political leadership.
But we could have told them that, you see, when we said...
There's leadership by example.
No, but when we said they did the wrong things, we're telling them that we know what is right. And so you should have done the right thing. We didn't follow them and say, because you're doing it, we are also doing it.
No, what he doesn't get is that if leadership fails,
we take
we
but
expect
you are a leader in your own right.
Gentlemen, who enacted the laws,
yes,
the people who enacted the laws,
yes,
the people who have the power to ask people
it doesn't
to
matter.
implement the laws.
In your own right.
Gentlemen, we have so many of our audiences who are joining us right now, and we want to bring them into the conversation. And I have one here, Douglas Bonnie, who of course has joined us on the links there. And thank you all for joining us. And Douglas says, Evans, do we have people called leaders in Parliament? If they can't make account for whatever Ghanaians are seeking for, anybody agree with that point? He's questioning, do we have leaders in Parliament? My answer to you, Douglas, is, to be fair, we lack leaders in Parliament. On this particular matter, leadership from both sides, we've seen one side trying to push. Leadership from both sides should have easily secured this data for the people they represent. And parliamentarians sometimes forget.
Is it too late? I mean, are we going to war tomorrow? Is
Why,
this information so urgent that without it we cannot plan the next budget?
We compare ourselves to the most advanced economies of the world, where you have the data. When Donald Trump travels, the cost of that travel is known.
Yeah.
It is open. You can check because he's spending the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Why should the ordinary taxpayer wait for 2 months to know simply how it costs my president to travel?
Exactly.
And then the finance minister comes and says, I can't answer that question, go to another minister.
After asking for additional time.
So to answer Douglas's question, we truly lack leadership sometimes in Parliament. And on this particular matter, there's been failure of leadership in Parliament.
Again, it's not too late. And I think we should make the point that nobody said the information will never be made available. At least that's what we know so far. We said
we don't know that yet.
The right institution.
You see, you don't know that yet.
Nobody has said that.
Wait.
Nobody has said that.
Listen, before the finance minister came, what was your expectation?
Nobody has said that.
I'll ask you a question. Before the finance minister came, what was your expectation?
That he will come and answer the question.
Exactly. He came and failed. So what is
He came and answered the question by providing you a different
basis of what is the basis of your confidence
telling me
that the national security minister is going to come and answer the question?
I decide not to be pessimistic about who's going to give the answer. I think that the people of this republic are getting more interested in this answer. It is only when government feels there's something to hide that they will not provide the answer. But I believe that if the National Security Ministry comes and they have the answer, they'll provide it. This is not a life or death matter.
Gentlemen, isn't it clear? Isn't it clear?
Yeah.
You have seen, finance minister, tell us how much the president spent. Oh, please give me some time, I'm coming. Now we'll give you that time, you come and tell us, based on the time you have given me, this is what I have to tell you. That it is not for me to say, is the national security minister, please.
Yeah, listen. So there's a lot of fire also coming, right? I mean, we expected that, right? So there's that Malcolm X Alive says, as you are here, don't expect all the guys to have the same opinion. This is to help you learn how to appreciate opinions, agree and disagree on issues without insults and hate. Fantastic, Malcolm. And it goes on. This show is academic exercise and all smart people should enjoy it. And then there's a reply to Malcolm by Eric Kwabla. Not when someone is deliberately supporting the thieves.
There should be a presumption of people being thieves in the first place, and no finding has been made.
I should mention your name.
No, he's not mentioning my name. But
so why are you arrogating it to yourself?
I'm setting the record straight.
Are you the one supporting
because we like binary thinking in this country, and that's the kind of thinking he has here.
Oh, are you addressing Eric? Speak to him. Eric is watching.
No, I'm saying that it is only binary thinking that says that merely because a time has to be fair for answers, it means that people are stealing. Stealing is a procedure that you ought to properly prove. None has been proven in this case. In any case, when it's being held to court to go and prove that somebody has stolen something, would you have any answers for it? So what's up from this claim?
So I have a question for you because this you should answer. Richard Vomo says, guys, how about the way gift mix works? And I know you are the final. Okay, attempt an answer.
So generally,
this is to Richard.
You go to gift mix like a finance software, make a demand and get your response from it. Then you can go and spend.
Yeah.
So I agree with him that to some extent, the finance minister may be able to, if it's properly audited, get the information about what requests were made and for which date and which period, so that I can get the right financing coming through. But
so if the expenditure went through the system,
yes,
the appropriate system of which there are sanctions. If you don't go through gift mix, there are sanctions
That's
that
true.
you must be giving. So if it went through that system, the finance minister can easily have it.
Yeah.
Okay?
So your answer to him is that does the give mix excuse the finance minister?
It doesn't excuse him.
It actually should aid him provide
It should
answers.
aid him to provide answers.
But-
so so the question we need to
my
ask
reliance
is, did
is
it go
on
through gift mix?
Section 62, which I just read to you, that if the minister is responsible for it, the minister says, I'm not. There's a grouping that's supposed to give you that detail. See, he might have released money, but the details are what we have been asking for, which is, okay, are you not interested whether that airplane the president used or might have used has a very wonderful washroom in it? Are you not interested in that answer? Are you not interested in the answer? How does the finance minister get to answer such a question?
But that's not the question was asked. That's not the question was
Question
asked.
the finance minister was asked.
What's the simple matter? Cost. Tell me how much.
Cost.
How much?
It goes beyond that.
How much?
If a member of
Somebody paid. And here's the thing. Somebody paid and collected receipts. This is something you can verify
It's
and
not
get
as if-
in an hour
It's
or
not as
less.
if we don't know what the
Auditing doesn't
president
happen every week. We don't do
There's
auditing every
more.
week.
There's more, guys. There's more, guys. Kwesi Blue says everything under the sun is leadership. The rest are effects. Thus, leadership plays a major role in the shaping of mindset and behavior of the masses. Our leadership has failed every sector of government and economy. So we really need to fix the country from the leadership level, and every other thing will fall in the right. Is that really true?
Yeah, largely.
Is it all about leadership?
Yes, it's mostly all about.
But how do you define leadership? Is it leadership as in the political leaders, or leaders as in all of us?
All of us.
No,
All
take
of
your
us.
time.
All of
First
us
of
are
us.
leaders.
No, first and foremost,
All of
in
us.
our part of the world, there's so much power entrusted to a few, so leadership cannot necessarily be all of us. Let's stop this thinking. Listen, I cannot
So
enforce
can
laws.
I say the president
cannot-
and parliament
I cannot-
alone can solve all our problems?
I cannot enforce the laws of this country. I cannot dictate the laws of this country.
But
There
you
are
can
people who
choose
have been
to observe the
mandated
law.
to do.
If you choose to observe the law, he does, I do. You don't have to. You don't need enforcement.
But we have to look up to somebody to lead the way. Do you know that?
And somebody would also
The
look up to you
determination
to
of
lead
the
way.
determination of what the laws are supposed
somebody
to
will
be
look up to you
was
to also
somebody's
lead the way.
doing. Let's not shirk responsibility by allowing people feel that there can be different set of laws for those at the top and ordinary people at the down there.
Nobody has said that. We have said, while they have failed, we have also played a role. Because look, all of us sat here and said, these persons did not do the right thing.
So what? When it distributes the who's supposed to be, what does that change?
When we came with the executive COVID lawbreakers,
Yeah.
we said the president, vice president, ministers, chief justice, the general secretary of the NDC did not do the right thing.
Yeah, but
Because
Spencer
we
did not say
knew-
that the ordinary
hold on,
people of
hold
what
on,
they
hold
call
on,
it.
hold on. Hold on. Because we knew
Sir
the
John's
right
hometown also were part
because
of
we
it.
knew the right thing. We said it because we knew the right thing. The Ghanaians who criticized them did so because they knew they were wrong. And so let us not just sit back and say they don't want to make a
Raymond,
mistake.
this is a big one.
Yeah,
On December 7th,
yeah,
we'll vote for them.
Yes.
That is our part in this.
yes.
That is our part in this. In spite of everything else that we say, but we are the people who will elect them. But I have a good comment I need to read. Herbert in Degal. Herbert Degal is down there and he says, please, this goes to the panel. Is it deliberate to put together 3 solid headmasters on one show?
Where
I'm unsure where the headmaster means, but
where headmaster is.
Address him, please. Herbert Degal, address him.
No. I mean, if what Herbert is thinking is what I'm thinking, then you probably put together 2 headmasters, not 3
So
headmasters.
are you counting yourself out of the heads?
I am out of this.
Oh, this man.
can you believe that?
But I think we need to agree on consensus basis that he is the chief headmaster.
Oh,
Followed by you. So we can do that. We can
Elvis
agree on
disagrees.
that.
Papa Teku says, I'm enjoying the show, guys. This is No Holes Up show, and I'm loving it. Thank you, Papa. Grateful. Uncle Evans, I totally agree with you. We lack leadership in Parliament. That is Tindan Francis. So obviously it means he disagrees with you on the matter. Ajib Gold, defend these criminals in government and destroy your reputation. It's simple as that.
because they are not criminals being talked about here. And so it cannot be a defense of something that's non-existent and cannot be a reputation loss for defending something that's non-existent. So it's whole statement. I don't know if you get my point.
I don't
One,
know.
you have to determine that they are criminals in this case. And that has not been determined.
By conviction.
So, yeah, I mean, not necessarily so. I mean, there should be a very wonderful basis for making that. You can't just throw words around and say that people lose this reputation
Address
because
him.
you have a misconstrued appreciation of who a criminal is. That's the problem.
Why are you looking at me? I
I am speaking to him through you.
Ajipa Gold sent that thing, and so I was just reading it. By the way, Yaira Hussein says third wave is a fault of all, but political leadership has failed us. You don't make laws for me and go about these laws. Are they human than us? And again, Raymond, you took that position.
Yes, I'm saying that the general principle of rule of law is that everybody is bound by the laws, but there is a higher responsibility on the gentleman who put together the laws and it's people who actually approve the laws to be the ones leading by example. If leadership was useless, we would have chosen a headless state where we all be at the same level. Perhaps in the clear cut of Thomas Hobbes, where a state of nature will be coming to play. But let's think of it properly. Because we look up to people, that's why we place them in leadership. We do not necessarily place people that we cannot look up to in leadership. So if they fail in that category, they cannot be excused by saying that, oh, others are doing it, and the followers should dictate what the leaders should do. What's the point there?
Okay, so here's one. Is that how the program is going to be? And this is to you, Winston. You guys are disagreeing to agree, kekeo. I thought you're going to take one issue and address it dito. Well, that's for Fred the champion.
Well, Fred, I mean, we've taken 2 issues today, and we've told you what we think, and I've also asked you to tell us what you think. We'll take this as your comment, but so far as I am concerned, this is what we've always promised.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, Fred, this is an issue. You can't expect all of us to agree on one subject. There are different views to an issue, and you represent a view. So I'm pretty sure if you express a view on this, you will probably agree or disagree with one of us. But as far as we're concerned, dito, yeah, you've heard the guys quote a lot of, you can form your own opinion based on the facts and opinion that you've had here. Now, I have a very interesting one from Adebora, who says, Raymond, if someone tries dodging to answer questions as a public officer, a steward of the public purse is and can be said to be stealing. That behavior of refusing to provide answers to one's responsibility is proof enough.
That's what you are stealing.
Yeah.
That's not the definition of stealing in law. I'm not sure which law he read, but clearly it's not a definition of stealing in law. Unless he proves me otherwise. Let's be fair. Stealing is dishonestly appropriating. When you have no intention of actually
but where there's honesty, it's easy to give evidence to back what
you just picked one element of a 3-strand definition of stealing. He cannot just do that. Clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Kwame Sapon-Asiedu also is watching and says, guys, do you remember the number of ministerial nominees it took to get an answer to the airport antigen testing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you expect just one minister to provide answers to the cost of presidential travel? You people,
and it's playing out again. The defense minister has gone and directed us to the finance minister.
Yeah, so that means it's the standard
now he's also
practice.
directed us to the national security minister. You know, when it got to the antigen testing, we moved from health minister, we went to foreign affairs minister, national security
Information minister,
until finally the transport minister came in, and we saw what happened.
So we know that's the standard practice. So what is the problem?
Well, let's just
sorry. So that's the standard practice. So what's the problem?
Hold on.
If that's the standard practice, what's the problem?
Hold on. Let's just hope that when the national security minister comes, he doesn't tell us
Yeah,
national security issues.
and what's your level of expectation on that? Because with all that we've seen, remember, defense minister came first. You know, didn't quite answer the question, although he was on my show.
Yes, and
challenging
Okujeto was absolutely wrong.
And I was challenging him, but if you say it's wrong, then give me the alternative. And he says, well, that's not my...
But the only should prove is the one alleging.
Yeah.
Not the one who is actually challenging it.
Listen, there are a few comments coming on Twitter also that we want to quickly go through. This one from TJ says, it does not make sense to me in the first place who approved the financial statements of the president's traveling. Minister of Finance is traveling, is trying to play mind games with the ordinary citizens. And I agree, TJ, about this particular matter because it's so simple to verify. Because you pay for a private jet, you'll be issued first with an invoice, and that will quote, and then you pay for it. Somebody must be in charge of that. And that's as simple as calling the person at Jubilee or whatever it is who made the payment to tell you.
Yes.
Winston.
But Kwame Sapon-Asiedu comes with something which is very interesting. He says, it is interesting that Winston is hammering on the issue of personal responsibility. When people say fix your attitude, people get vexed. It is interesting to know that in Ghana, when sometimes something fails, it's leadership. The masses, unfortunately, are being told that they do not know what is right or wrong.
Okay, so but that's an interesting point. As in that we don't trust in the intelligence of the people, of our people.
I do.
That they can figure out. what
do.
it is. They know.
And that's why we criticize. I mean,
They know what leadership is.
My only problem is the connection with the fix yourself part, because we all know that the fix yourself, as agreed by even some government officials, was misconstrued and completely out of range. So it's not the same here.
Of course.
The fix yourself is not the same here.
Of course.
But the point he's making about, I mean, we're not trusting leadership and all of that. It's our responsibility to also hold them to account.
Fine.
And see, listen, Evans, you've given somebody a job to do. Very fine job. Pay them so well. So well. They can't give you excuses that, oh, you can also be part of the job. Do it properly. Even though I've given you a job to do, will you take that? If you're a private employer, will you take that too?
No, of course not.
Come on.
So what will you do at the end of because you have the power to
You insist they do their job or you fire them.
So there's one from Evershed Ameko that says, start the show from 2 p.m. 30 minutes there, no lie. Give us a 1 hour show.
Okay, we'll see. Dr. Algebra is on Twitter. Says, Algebra, I'm expecting this is going to be proper on finance. He says, for the finance minister to rehearse on what to say for 7 weeks, only to come and tell us to ask the national security minister is enough reason to confirm that there was a profligate expenditure. And remember, those are words that Okudzeto Ablakwa had used in his piece on the president's travels. And indeed, I agree with this. Remember the argument I made about balance?
It's merely anecdotal.
No, wait.
It's merely anecdotal.
Balance of probabilities.
Yeah.
It's taking so long. If the government had data and information that contradicts Okudzeto's 2 million plus amount, which was far less, you think the government would have stayed so long and not provide that answer? It would have been so instant.
If I want to believe...
It's more probable that it's either same or more. And when you drop this in the midst of fix the country, disenchantment with taxes and all, this is the toxic mix. So you can actually, somebody who can actually credit the government for saying the best option is to keep quiet. Let Okudzeto have his 15,000 pounds an hour, and let's keep our whatever it is that we have.
So you're basically saying that government is interested in keeping the information from its people.
Yeah,
because,
but for what reason?
Because
there's a political
it feels
cost.
that the cost is so high that it makes nonsense of having to deliver it to the people so that you're not seen as being profligate. That's what you're saying.
Okay, gentlemen, finally, and these are very strong words, he knows. He's literally telling Ghanaians to go use 4-letter words ourselves. He won't tell us, and there's nothing we can do about it. This government and these appointees have no iota of conscience. They have no souls, share wickedness, he says. I mean, final one. The press travel is showing its face like Domelevo's audit on Crow. Watch out keenly as they go behind security excuse to avoid explanation. If Khan of that security can answer, why can Ken of MOF?
To be fair, we still have time to wait for Kandapar to come and tell us this story that we are yet to get from him. I think we should have a little bit more patience and get that information. It is not too late to wait.
So you have patience for political authority when it comes to accountability?
I have patience when I think there's a reasonable timing being given. It sounds dodgy so far, but they're still giving us an alternative.
I mean, he has
if Kandapar comes back and says that...
Why would it sound dodgy? Why would it sound dodgy?
It sounds dodgy because of the people who have been involved. But then again, I'm still in the position.
Listen, Raymond, a final one before we wrap up. When it was JM, we said he was incompetent. Now we are trying very hard to push blame from leadership to citizens. I agree with Raymond. Well, that's
who is that?
Who is that? He's Kwame Nkrumah Akwa. Yeah, he has your name.
He's a very brilliant guy.
Listen, that's the show tonight. Listen, we're going to end, but of course the conversation continues on our pages. Do I need to outro myself? I don't need to. You know my name. You know his name. You know, if you struggle, just say the heads, and you're sorted. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you do.